I'm going to go over the skull bones. First, you have a supramargin, which is over your eye, and then your supraforamen. Next is your occipital bone. You have occipital condyles, which lead to your foramen magnum. Inside your foramen magnum, you have the hypoglossal canal. You have an external occipital protuberance, which runs off your nuchal line, your superior nuchal line. And then you have an inferior nuchal line. Inside of the skull is your sphenoid bone. This is the body of your sphenoid bone. This is your cilia tertia, which holds your pituitary gland. You have greater wings and lesser wings. You really can't see it that well, but you have your pterygoid processes and then your optic foramen, which is right here. And if you go, sorry, can you see it? This is your optic foramen. And if you go all the way through, it connects to your optic canal. Then you have a superior orbital fissure, and you can also see your optic foramen or optic canal. Then you start with your foramen rotundum, and underneath it is your foramen oval, which you see is an oval, and then underneath the foramen oval is your foramen spinosum, which is a little hole. Then you go to the ethmoid bone, which has your cribriform plates, and then you see the little holes, which are your olfactory foramina. And then you really can't see it, but on the ethmoid bone, on the sides down here would be your lateral masses, and then you have your superior nasal concha. You can't see your middle nasal concha, but you also have an inferior nasal concha. Then you see your cristae galli, which leads to your perpendicular plate. Then you have your mandibular, which is your bottom of your jawbone. You have the body, the ramus, the mandibular sinus, which would be right here, and it creates your butt chin. Your alveolar margin, which is pretty much like your gums. Your mental foramen, and then inside you will find your mandibular foramen. Next is your temporal bone, which I have to put back on. You have a squamous region, which is like right underneath your squamous suture. The zygomatic process, which is your cheekbone. Your mastoid process. Your styloid process, which is just a point. And in between is your stylomastoid foramen. Then here, which is your external acoustic meatus, which is your ear. Then you have your jugular foramen, which goes all the way through, which is right next to your styloid. Underneath it, and then you also have your carotid canal, choroidal canal. You see your jugular, which this is your jugular, this is your lacerium foramen, which inside you will see your internal acoustic meatus. And then if you take your jawbone off, you will find your mandibular fossa. You can stop it for a moment. Now we'll go to your maxilla. Your maxilla has the infraorbital foramen, which you see right here, and then your inferior orbital fissure. The maxilla, just like the mandibular, has your alveolar margin, and if you flip it over, you'll find your horizontal plate and your palatine process. Also, you have two nasal bones, and then two lacrimal bones, and you will find your vomer.